Well, hello, Miss Lady Jen Duplessis. Super excited to have you here in our audience. You are an amazing human being, and I am just so honored to be called your friend. And I'm excited to be having this conversation with you today.
Thank
Um,
you. Me too.
yeah. So I want to ask you to just briefly introduce yourself to the audience and let them know who you be in the world. And then we're going to jump into some questions.
Yeah, that sounds good. Well, thank you. I'm Lady Jen Duplessis, and I am a knighted lady. So if anybody's wondering what's going on, it's not Lady Gaga or Queen Latifah. Um, and I am known as the team building and scaling architect. And what I do is I help businesses go from hustle to harmony.
Sweet. I love that. From hustle to harmony. And you know why I love it so much? Because I think that people wear hustle as a badge of honor.
Yeah,
And I'm super excited that your movement is out in the world to shift that for a lot of women, especially to move from hustle to harmony and use harmony as a badge of honor. That is
yeah,
amazing.
yeah.
So let me ask you, what got you inspired to get started with this movement?
Well, is it okay if I tell you my story?
You know, you cannot
There.
come here and not tell stories, girl. Come on.
So I went to dinner with my family one night and I got a phone call from a client. And what do we do as business owners? We act on demand and not in demand. And so I had to take the call because my client needed me. And so I went outside and I had my phone in my hand and I was walking what I call the concrete balance beam. Do you know that concrete balance beam? The one where it's the curb. Sometimes we go up and down the stopper, but you see people walking and talking and talking and walking, right? And I was so filled with anxiety. I was like, oh, my husband's gonna be mad at me again. I'm gonna miss dinner again, but I'm gonna get this call over quickly. And I just felt like I had to take the call. I had to take it because that's what we do. And I was in hustle. And I'm walking and talking, and heck, I was even covering my phone, right? As I'm talking, I'm covering the phone and I'm opening the door for people into the restaurant, going, "You're going to love it here. You're going to love it." And I'm multitasking. And I'm worried because I can't take notes. I'm not serving my client and I'm responding, uh-huh. I sound like Alexa, right? That Alexa commercial where it goes, uh-huh. Hey, Alexandra, uh-huh, right? And I'm just going, uh-huh, uh-huh. And I'm helping these people and I'm worried and I'm anxiety and I'm burnout and I've got all this stuff going on. And I happen to look over into the window of the restaurant and my family was there laughing and doing spitballs and having a great time, except they were having all of this without me. And they were creating these beautiful memories without me. And this wasn't the first time, and it wouldn't be the last. It wouldn't be the last, but I'd had enough. And I said, this has got to change. I can't be in this place, this hustle, this constant driving, right? This trying to climb the corporate ladder, trying to make more sales, trying to make more money. Have you ever been there? It's awful. And they say to you, if you want to have a big business, you got to be available. You have to be available. You have to answer calls. You have to be, everything to everyone, really telling us that I have to be everybody's beck and call girl. And I don't want to be that. And so in that moment, I said, things have got to change. They have to change. And I have to find a way that I'm not working 8 days a week. But how could I work 4 days a week and still get the same results?
Or
And
better.
right. Oh, yeah. Well, all I wanted was time, right? All I needed was time. So I set out to create what I call the elite business success system. And I started deploying that and I started creating it. Oh boy, took years, of trial and error, improving and this, that, and the other. And, one of the things that Les Brown says is, if you're casual about your business will become a casualty. And I have to tell you, there was nothing casual about my business. I was running amok. And I said, I'm not casual. I should be doing really well because I'm not casual about my business. But then I thought, gosh, maybe I am casual because it's all superficial. I'm herding cats all day. I've got laundry lists of things to do. And despite all that, I feel like success is just slipping away from me. And I felt stuck. And Jim Rohn says something too. He says, if you discipline yourself, no one else can discipline you. If I take the reins and I control this business and I run this business instead of this business running me, then no one else can tell me what else I have to do. So I started doing, and I like to believe that you can live your legacy while you're building it. There's no reason we have to wait to have success and to have that harmony in our life. And so to my surprise, I was in my office several years later and I got this cardboard box. It wasn't even a box. It was like a thin, like an 8.5 by 11, 8.5 by 14, right? And I get out my scissors and I open it up and I'm opening and peeling and I take the tissue off the top, right? And there it says, top 200 loan officers in the United States of America out of 1 million. And what do you think I do? I start going down the list, right? I'm not one, I'm not 70. Where am I? Am I really on the list? And I finally get down to the bottom and I'm 178. But I look over at what my production was and it had doubled. And I was only working 4 hours. An unintended consequence or unintended great thing that happened from it because my goal was, hey, I just need to survive and be able to do this in 4 days. And look what I accomplished. And so then people started asking me, how do you do it? Can you show us? And that's where I am today. Now I'm teaching others how to do that exact same thing.
I just love that story. I mean, like on so many levels. And because one of the things I love about it is because I can identify with it because I
Yeah,
was that person.
right.
I was that person at the real estate conferences on vacation with the phone, walking out of the room, leaving the beach to go hide and lie. And I'm being real, girl. I'm
Yeah.
being real. I lied. I was like, I'm going to the bathroom. I'm going back up to the room. Going back up to the room to
Right. I have to tell
right.
you, there was a vacation that we went on
Mhm.
that my daughter several years said, don't you remember when you were parasailing? I said, I've never been parasailing. She goes, you were parasailing. I was? I don't even remember the
Remember.
vacation, let alone the parasailing, because I was always up in my room.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I totally get it. And so as we're in this conversation, I want people to hear, and I hope y'all could resonate because I know anybody who's listening to it at some level, if you are a driven entrepreneur, you are going to resonate with this because I'm going to tell you, this is probably just an awakening for you to become aware of it because you're doing it. You're doing it right now, and that's why this conversation is in your space. So
Yeah. Oh,
I
you're
love that
probably
you
typing too while you're doing it and answering phones while you're listening. Right.
right? And that's a hustle energy,
It
right?
is.
And
Totally.
so so let me ask you, how do you get this process that you're calling the elite business strategy, elite business, what do you want to
Success
write success
system. Yeah.
system.
Yeah.
So how do you do this system? You
Yeah.
have
Well,
some process that you walk people through, yes?
yeah. Oh, yeah. No question about it. And we don't have a lot of time to talk about it on this. And I'm going to be talking about it in my masterclass coming up here soon. But yeah, there's 5 strategies that I had to develop. And I really had to create these 2 identities of what does the hustle person do? And what does the person who lives in harmony do? And I went through these pieces and I said, number one, do I know my gaps? Do I know my numbers? Because there's so much avoidance in hustle. right? I don't want to know my numbers. I'm too busy to know my numbers. I don't really track anything. I just know. And I've asked my clients before, what's your conversion rate? And they say, well, it's anywhere between 30 and 70%. Well, that's a sign right there. Right? That's a sign you don't know your numbers. So number one, I had to figure it out. I had to ground myself and say, okay, where am I really in this business? Who am I working with? If I'm casual, who else is casual? Should I be working with them? Should I not be working with them? I had to really hone in on making sure that I'm developing continuing to develop my leadership skills because I already had them. There's so many entrepreneurs don't have management and leadership training that I started going, whoa, I probably should be doing that too. That's part of this. If I want to know my numbers, maybe I can have someone else figure them out for me and tell me what my numbers are. Right? So I don't have to do it. So that's step number one is identifying the gaps. Step number two is building a team and building a team fast.
Mhm.
Because if you don't build a team, you can't scale because you're the bottleneck. You are the bottleneck in your company. Number three is surrounding myself and leveraging my advisors, my masterminds, people that I look up to, and hiring a coach. I'd never hired a coach because I thought I couldn't afford it. But I couldn't afford not to have a coach because it accelerated my success. And then number four is cultivating a community. Now, listen, I thought I had a community because I was doing one to ones and going networking and doing all those fun things. I was doing all that, but I didn't have a community. It was all superficial. People forgot about me. I didn't think about them. I would show up and throw up at a one to one and think I did a great job and wait for people to
Love what you
call.
just said. Show up and throw up on a
Show
one.
up and throw up. Because I was in the hustle. It's like, let me just tell you
Yeah.
everything.
Then
Let
check
me
it
just tell
off.
you everything. And then, yeah, yep, high five. That was great. And then wonder why we weren't working together, right? There's a lot of depth in that I go through with all of my clients. I'll go through a little bit of it in the mastermind or in the master class. And but I realized I really needed to be curious about people. I needed to care more about people than I cared about cash, care more about people than the profit, right? And then I had to slow down to speed up instead of speeding up to slow down. And then the
That's so
last thing is
good.
I had to develop some systems. You can't just go networking and hope that it's going to work and not have a way to follow through. A lot of the phone calls we get is because we don't have a system where our clients are going, hey, what's the status? What's going on? What's happening? What's going on? Where are we in this process? So I developed a process for everything, for marketing, for networking, for referral partners, for prospects, for in your sales process, for post sales, right? Which would I call alumni clients because I want to bring them back in. I have a system for everything. But the problem that hustle people have is here's their system. It's not on paper. So every time they try to hire someone, it backlashes on them because the person doesn't know what they're supposed to be doing. So
Yeah.
it's all together. And those are the five systems that took me from, at the time, I was in the mortgage business. I was doing $50 million a year in production. It took me to 102. And then we went to 112 or 13. Then we went to 126.
Yeah.
And I ended up funding $1 billion in loans, which most people will never do in their lifetime.
Wow. That's cray. Wow. That's super amazing. Man, I don't think I know anybody else who's done that. I know a bunch of
I
mortgage
think
people who
there's,
own a bunch of mortgage companies. That
yeah,
is,
well, the companies do. Collectively, the companies do. But yeah, I think there's like less than 30 of us in the whole country have ever done it. Uh,
yeah. So that's what I'm saying. And as a woman, and we
ha
can
ha
go on
ha.
another tangent. We're not
Yes.
going to do that, but I'm just mentioning
Yeah, no,
as a
it's good.
woman in the mortgage industry
And
and
a man's world.
to have done that as a
Yeah.
woman is a huge deal, you
Yeah.
know?
Well,
Because
and
mhm.
and I was in the business for 35 years, and half of that I was in management, sales management, executive management, ownership of my own company. So I wasn't actually originating until like the last 17, 18 years of my career.
So you did that in a short amount of time.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's crazy. That's crazy. Um, you said so much. Y'all just have to go to her masterclass because I'm going. I'm just letting y'all know I'll be there, right? Because one of the things that it's coming up for me even as a business owner is, SOPs. I tell my team all the time, you got to have SOPs for every single thing in your
Yeah.
business, y'all.
Yeah.
You can have it for the overall business, like the main thing, but you got to do SOPs for each thing so that when people come into your system, they know what gets to happen and you
Yeah.
know what gets to happen.
Yeah.
So I love that you have a system for everything. I can't wait for you to go deeper in the masterclass on that. So
Yeah.
let
Yeah.
me ask you a question, Jen. What do you think happens when people don't understand their process? What's the breakdown that you've experienced with your clients that happens?
Yeah, with the process, I think it for business owners, the sequencing is off.
Mm,
When we're, let's just take the example that, and not everybody comes from corporate. There's different, histories and backgrounds and experiences, but when you're a practitioner, you're the best widget maker in the company, and you decide you want to have a widget making company. Most people are going to step into that same role without the pay and without the benefits, working more hours. Are you with me on that? And so then we get stuck in the practitioner piece and we can never really get ourselves out. Not, it's difficult to get ourselves out. I call it, you've heard the phrase, don't work on your business work. I'm sorry, don't work in your business work.
on your
I
business.
believe you don't need to work in or on your business. So if you can move from and shift from in and on to working above and or living above and beyond your business, then you can start elevating yourself into the true CEO that you are as an entrepreneur and not be the practitioner. So the name of the game is how fast can I get out of in and
Out.
on into up, above, and beyond? And I have the path. I have the
Mm,
secret sauce for it, right? For doing that. And then when you get beyond, start another company because now you know how to do it, or sleep in
mm,
or travel or do whatever's, best for you.
yeah.
But I think that what happens is we get trapped in there. We don't have the skill set, the soft skills in management, maybe in leadership. We've never hired anybody because we were the one who got hired. We just don't have some of those skills that end up keeping us trapped in the vicious cycle of I'll just do it myself. I'll just do it myself. I can do it better. I can do it better. It would take too much time, right? It would take too much time for me to teach somebody. I hired them and they were horrible. Instead of I was horrible, I wasn't ready. I hired them because their title said they could do it, but when they got there,
Mm-hmm.
they couldn't do it. And what's their problem? Well, the problem is they don't have the system because it's still in your head, right? And so we're
Mm,
just
so good.
trapped in this vicious circle. And I just want to yank people out of it and say bye bye to the hustle, right?
Yeah.
Bye bye to the hustle. And so that's what we're all contending with. We just feel like we can do better. And you know how on our cell phones when we get low on battery, we're running around. We're
Mm-hmm.
like, I need a lifeline. I need a lifeline, right? We don't do that in business. We allow it to go all the way to zero. It shuts off. We get burnt out. We're overwhelmed. We're stressed. We're not sleeping. It keeps us up at night, right? We're just a mess. And so the only thing that we do is we just hire someone who breathes. I just need someone who breathes. I just need somebody. And it's a horrible hire. And we're like, well, I guess I'm stuck back here again.
Yeah, yeah,
That's
yeah.
not
No
why
good.
you became an entrepreneur. That's not why you wanted to have this beautiful life. And it wasn't why I wanted to have that beautiful life either. I didn't want that. And so that's where everybody gets stuck.
Yeah, yeah. And I love that we're in the conversation of being stuck because the next question I had for you was what do you think holds people back from making the decisions, from letting go of, you know, I
Letting
know
go to grow.
it's true because I gotta tell you, I think I was sharing with you before we got on this interview is that I was in a room filled with really successful women
Yeah.
who were and I'm sitting here, I'm watching it, I'm going, yo, it's not really about the money, right? So anyway, so
It
what do
is.
you
And that's what happens is like a lot of people seem really successful. Like a lot of my clients are already really successful. Some aren't, and they're trying to be, right? And I'm saying do it from day one. If you're thinking about Mother May I, it's the first step. The
Yeah.
very first step. You got to hire a team. You got to do these things because when you get too far down the road, it's too difficult to backtrack. I did that. I already did all that work.
And I want
You
to
don't need to
interrupt
do it.
you in that conversation, Jen. And
Yeah.
this may be a little bit off, but I'm interrupting it because as you said it, the first thing that came to my mind is, oh my God, that's disruptive
Yeah.
because most coaches tell people do it by yourself and then hire a team. They don't
And
say
hire
hire
an
a team
admin and then
at
hire. Yeah.
least.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I get asked that a
right.
lot of time on stages is like, who's the first person you should hire? And I know the E-Myth says hire a VA or an admin, but I don't agree with that at all
Mm,
because we
mm,
all come with a set of experiences and expertise. And if you
right,
come from, in my example, I come with a lot of management and leadership experience. So I have an edge on anybody else who doesn't have that. And that's what
right.
I teach people, right? Someone else might come with a lot of technical skill that I am not interested in, and I don't have any interest in doing that. So for one person, it might be one person to hire, and for someone else, it might be different. So I have a template, I have a roadmap, but I never ever throw my clients down into this is my path, and this is the path you have to be coached. And you want that one thing way down there, but we can't get there yet. We got to wait. You got to wait until I get to that point. I don't do that because everyone has a unique set of skills. And in fact, what I coach people on is how to manage people based on their skills.
Right.
So why wouldn't I coach people
Hmm.
with that same thought process? But
Yeah,
yeah, it's from day one. It is from day one because it forces you to put the SOPs. If anything, you hire someone and they write the SOP for you.
yeah,
Every time you give them something, they're like, "Oh, that goes here and this goes there," right? If
yeah,
anything.
yeah. So
Uh,
let me be clear so everybody
yeah,
understands what the SOP is, because I've been in rooms of
I
six, seven,
know you.
eight-figure
Yeah.
earners and they still don't know what an SOP is. It's standard operating procedures. And for those of you, I was in a room this week where the host, they forgot what a KPI was, and I'm like,
Oh,
okay,
geez, a
got
key
it.
performance indicator. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Indicator, right? So those are pieces of the business. Even if you're a solopreneur, you still get to have them.
So
So
there's a gap right there. That's a gap of understanding the vernacular that happens as a
yeah,
business owner.
yeah, yeah, yeah,
Right there, right there. Yeah, and those are the systems, right? I don't call them SOPs, I call them the systems, right? They have to be effective and efficient.
yeah,
They have to be easy to distribute, but then they also have to be very effective. It doesn't make any sense to do it just because, right? Yeah.
mhm,
And I think what happens is that, a lot of people are just, what holds them back is I don't have time to learn this. I don't have time to be coached. I don't have time to be trained. I'd rather just work a gazillion hours or go, work 8 hours a week, as I call it, right? I'd rather just work the 8 hours a week than take the time to do it. And, even when you bring someone on, I'm gonna give a little bonus here. When you bring someone on, there's this 50-10 method that I use. When you bring someone on, it's the tendency is, hey, let me show you how to do this. It only takes 2 minutes. 3 hours later, 100 rabbit holes beyond that, guess who gets to go home for the day?
yeah,
And guess who now has to finish their work because they spent 3 hours doing a 2 minute thing? And so I have this 50-10 method where a new employee can watch, listen, observe, take notes for 50 minutes while I do my work. I don't talk to them, I pretend they're not there. And they get 10 minutes to ask me questions. What is a KPI? What is an SOP? Right? Why did you say this? What does this mean? Blah, 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 all those pieces. And I can answer them. And I have a video tutorial of what all my processes are. And I say, hey, go and learn this, go and learn that, and then come back and ask me more questions. And so there's a process that happens with that so that you can onboard people so much more effectively and efficiently and nobody knows about it. And so that holds people back because they're like, just give it to me, I'll just do it. And now who's paying whom? They're like, hey,
mhm,
this is cool. I just delegated to my boss and they're paying me money.
right. And that can be really dangerous. That can be really dangerous because then you're setting, and
Financially.
then,
Yeah.
yeah, financially and later in the relationship, should they continue in in
Yeah.
this business relationship with you, because then you're setting some expectations that
Oh
are
yeah, that
not
hey,
not
I can just say I don't
not
get
really.
it, I don't understand it, I didn't get
Yes,
around
yes,
to it, right? All of those pieces.
yes.
And we just don't see that. And so having a skill set of understanding how to lead people is
Hmm.
key.
Key,
And I
absolutely.
spend a lot of time with that, with my clients, helping them, just opening their eyes to, oh, and I say, hear someone say, oh, I treat everybody the same way. And I go, oh God, no, please don't do that. Or they say, I want to hire a mini me. No, 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 we don't need another mini you. Right? We need aspects of you, but not a mini you, right?
Yeah, 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 yeah.
Or when they're interviewing because they've never interviewed before, they're like, I really like you. How about if we just bring you on and we'll find a spot for you? This
No, that
happens
doesn't work.
all the time. If
Wow.
if it's you, put a comment in whatever wherever we're putting this, right? Put a comment there and say that was me.
If that's you, put a comment in. We got you, and show it to the masterclass because she's going to debunk all of that for you. She's going to shift all of that for you. All right. So I want to make sure we cover everything
Yep.
here with the audience. What should they do? Well, hold on. Let me make sure I did all of these. Give me one
Uh-huh.
second.
Yep.
We talked about what holds them back, right?
Yep.
Um,
What should
yeah.
they do now?
Yeah, what I was actually thinking back to the what holds them back to make sure we
Yeah.
covered that because
Good.
um
Yep.
clear. So what should listeners do next? What
Yeah.
is their next step after listening to us talk about all
Yeah.
these pieces that
Oh
the
my
of
gosh.
the
Yeah.
process
Yeah.
that is
Well, and
required?
yeah, because this isn't, I mean, this is just the tip of the iceberg, right? This isn't enough for someone to say, oh, well, now I know what to do, right? So there's so much more. So we have a masterclass coming up and we have a link below. You'll be providing everybody with the link,
Yes.
to come to the masterclass. And we're going to go more into depth about these 5 areas and a lot more things, right? We're going to have a special speaker coming as well. And, we just want to share this. And it's a free event. You can come here, bring your friends, learn together, bring your team so that you don't have to regurgitate this to them, right? Bring your spouse so that they understand you shouldn't be in the hustle and you need to move to harmony. Um, and that's what we're going to be doing. And then we have a VIP ticket that's available as well. And what we're going to do is the event actually is 4 hours. We're going to have an hour before power hour, VIP experience power hour, where you're going to have an hour with me to ask me any questions you want. Any questions you want. And with the VIP ticket, you will be able to ask questions during the event. You'll be
Wow.
able to interact with me during the event. And we've got some other goodies and stuff too that always happen with VIPs. But the big thing is that you get a little extra time, to spend with me. My clients pay $100,000 for one VIP day with me. And to
Wow.
have 1 hour is worth a lot of money.
Yeah.
And it's
I
nothing.
was actually going to say something about that. I was going to tell them that if you all think that this was valuable, you've got to take advantage of the 1 hour, get the VIP, because that 1 hour is going to be gold. It's going to shift your business. This is what Jen does, like with her eyes closed, right? So if you are willing to give up what she really gave you was $100,000 offer, y'all. Just to be clear, she gave
And
you a
you're
hundred
getting it
thousand dollar
free.
offer for
Yeah.
free,
Yeah.
right? Um, and not to negate the value there. It's because she has a heart of giving and she wants you to
Thank you.
succeed. So be sure to grab the VIP link. I'm going to be there. I'm going to be there with you, learning with you, because she said a whole bunch of things that I get to go look at for my self.
Or for yourself and go, do I have that? Oh my gosh, what's going on? Right.
Yeah, 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 yeah. So,
Yeah.
Jen, any final words for the audience? Any final words for the
Well,
audience?
thank you. First of all, thank you so much for the opportunity. It's been a pleasure, sharing a little bit about, what I love to do and how I love to help people. And, I just want to remind everyone, the successful people are action takers. They make decisions really, really quickly and they know to move forward quicker. And if that's what you're looking for, if you're looking for a compression of time, if you're looking for a way to succeed faster, then coming to this masterclass is going to be the first step for you. And I'm just delighted if you come there. I'd be honored to be able to share what I've learned over these 4 decades.
Yeah. And that's the thing. That's the one thing we have in common, Jen, is
Yes,
the vision and the mission to collapse time for people. Uh,
yes,
because
absolutely.
you know, we've been there, done that, made the mistakes, seen the gaps. Now we can see other people's gaps quite easily. So,
Yeah, yeah. Oh, I'd
going
love to
in,
be on the journey with them, with
yeah,
anybody who wants to get out of the hustle and get to harmony. So thank you. Thank you so much again, Lorna, for having me today. I appreciate it.
you are welcome. Thank you. That's all for now, y'all. See you in the masterclass. Bye for now.